Hello and welcome to another edition of Art of Arlo Moon. On today's episode, I'm doing yet another pop piece. It's a pop in the real world. I don't know, kind of maybe crazy title, but anyway, once again, this is on panel. I don't want this to be stale after a while. It's the same stuff. I mean, I do a lot of the same stuff. It's probably the same people. Or different people, I mean, it's probably the difference in it, maybe. This is a drawing I did of Dylan, Bob Dylan. If you don't know, if you're like, 20 and you don't know who Bob Dylan is, you could Google him. He's a legend. He's probably single-handedly instrumental in influencing, countless people, honestly. But in the 60s, 1960s, that is. I know it's a long time ago, before my time, but now a lot of these people are before my time, or whatever. They're icons in pop, as far as popular culture. He's single-handedly instrumental in influencing a generation of people to play acoustic guitar. Since he was so hugely influential in that era, in that generation, from just being an artist who sang songs, basically. He was a folk artist, essentially, but initially he was a folk artist, but there's a bunch of controversies about him. It's not controversial like Marilyn Manson or Anton LaVey, like those couple pieces I did before. Just general controversies. One major one, which is kind of ridiculous, and it seems at the time it was really a big deal, because he was known in his repertoire. A lot of what he did was folk art, He did folk art, him singing with a guitar, and sometimes, the harmonica, which was like a headset that he had on his head, so he could play the harmonica and do the solo with harmonica, basically. But if you don't know that, you should watch the movie No Way Home. It's a Scorsese film. It's an amazing Scorsese film on him. I love it. I love that film. I can't promote it enough because I know it's an old film, but it's just so awesome. And it's on him, and it just catalyst. It was a catalyst for a lot of people to be interested in the style of music he was playing. And it was folk art. It coined a lot of things at the time. It captured the moment of the generation in a lot of ways. I'm just painting this in because I want to. Why not? It's the wrong way, probably, but anyway, whatever. But yeah, but there was the controversy I was talking about was when he was known for folk art, so he did these acoustic songs and did a lot of folk songs, and I don't know the exact year, but some point, he decides, I'm going to play electric guitar. Today, no one even would, if you're 20, you're not going to understand what the significance of that is. At the time, it was a lot of people were playing. It's transitioned into heavier music, and you pretty much, if you played electric guitar, you played electric guitar. You didn't play acoustic. Then there was a bunch of hybrid bands in the 70s and stuff that came out. This is after this, of course. There's a bunch of things that happened, but you played folk music, you didn't play electric. It wasn't acceptable. I don't know the thinking on it or whatever, if he was just trying to get controversial or whatever. He was kind of controversial, and not like by his own interest or what he wanted to do. It was more like just from him singing songs, people, there's an amazing part in that movie where they're talking and they're like, how many other singers or protest singers, he's smoking a cigarette, he's just a very interesting character. He's sitting there smoking a cigarette in an interview. I don't know what they were interviewing, an album or whatever. But, he was just giving an interview to a bunch of press. And they're like, how many other protest singers are there? Dylan is just like nonchalant about everything all the time. And most of his interviews you see, he's just like, whatever. And I don't know if he ever considered him, and this is kind of why it's funny, because he's kind of like looking at him like, protest singers, what the hell are you talking about? But I mean, he didn't correct the guy, say, oh, I'm not a protest singer, or he just goes, So he gives us some number, like I don't remember if it's like 156 or whatever he gives him. It's like, yeah, either 48 or 148 or something, some weird. It's a joke answer, obviously, because it's a joke question. You're like so out of it. In the time, they were completely ridiculously out of it, and they didn't know what to make of him. And he was like kind of part of, not really. It seems like not really, but he was a touchstone for a lot of people in the generation in the 1960s. So basically, he was influential on them, but then also kind of he was kind of like spoke for a lot of people, so to speak. Not like they went, "You spoke for us," but a lot of people found a consensus in what he spoke in his music as kind of like speaking about the generation they lived in. I mean, a lot of bands, a lot of groups, a lot of people. It wasn't just one guy in the 1960s or 70s or whatever, like any era. But he was hugely influential on that whole era. And then from then on, of course, later in the get to the 90s, some people try to make him into a joke or whatever because of the way his style of singing. And well, I mean, if you're talking about Hendrix or whoever, that's before the 90s, of course, but Hendrix loved him. Jimi Hendrix, that is. When I say Hendrix, I mean Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there's a movie about Jimi Hendrix where his girlfriend at the time, basically, Hendrix had discovered Dylan, and he was driving his girlfriend nuts because all he would do was play Dylan all the time, and that's why I also covered Dylan and a couple of Dylan songs. Well, there was Herbert there. Hey, that's good. A number of groups covered his music. They got real big hits from his music. And like they talk about in that one movie, No Way Home, he basically was so famous. It's not like the Beatles. The Beatles were their own entity. And a lot of people today like to make fun of the Beatles. They don't understand, maybe, or they don't care, or whatever, but they didn't really understand the impact the Beatles made, I don't think. Maybe there was always going to be haters no matter what the impact or whatever. It doesn't matter. But they were such a big, huge group, but and it wasn't, it was before there were boy bands. Well, it's a boy band. Well, all the rock and roll was a young person's music. It wasn't something old people listened to. So, anyway, dissertation on Dylan. So we'll time up some of this. Alright, I'm back. I went ahead and finished the background as far as the HUs overlaying it. And then you see this part here, there was a rip in it, so I wanted to make sure I covered that. So then these are kind of like to balance it or whatever. Anyway, it's just, I'll try to cut this up so it's not that long of a video. But you see that kind of got down to the shoulders. That's almost going to be like my updates or something. But anyway, we'll see what happens next. So I guess I'm going to do HUs at the bottom, not white and black HUs. We'll see what happens here. Alright, you see like the bottom is done with those HUs now. I'm going to detail all this now. Okay, I was just painting and painting and painting, and it would be impossible to time lapse. Even if I time lapse, it would have took forever, and I don't know. I'm trying to cut it down to 10 minutes, but I don't know how realistic it is. You can see I put the background in, I put finished the HUs, I did all the detailing, then I did the white detailing over the black detailing, which I thought was kind of cool. I did red detailing in there too. You can see just line detailing, but see, this is the final kind of image. Did the white over the hair. If you see the hair here, I did the whites, and kind of makes it just stand out with detailing. Maybe over the top of the face might have been too much. I don't know, but it's a hit and miss, and it makes everything stand out. And then the bottom, I did red detailing. Just kind of weird over the white HU. That went over my symbol again, and that's the final piece there. Well, it has to have profile depth, the sealant, and 5 other things, but basically that's the image, essentially. So it's Bob Dylan. If you liked any of this video, hit the like button, of course. And, you know, if you want to subscribe, I really would like some more subscribers. It's all about subscribers and views and likes, of course, as we know, on YouTube. So if you liked any of this, subscribe. I'm going to make a lot more paintings and different art pieces than just paintings. But any of it, subscribe, and put a comment about which subscriber you subscribe, at the bottom. And I'll personally thank you. I really appreciate anybody who views it or likes and subscribes. Anything having to do, any support is great. And why don't you go ahead and make some art today? Go out and make some art today, won't you?